You know, I say stuff, Tim, and they always say I lie or I say too much. You know, I worked on an album with Biggie. We cut about 5 songs together.
And how many songs did you guys do?
I don't know, but a couple. Not maybe 8 songs, 10 songs, you know, like that.
Joe is pretty entertaining, right?
He entertaining.
Yeah.
He entertaining, especially when he lied. That's when he best entertaining.
Long ago, Fat Joe came out and said he lied in 95% of his rhymes. What did you think of that?
He told the truth for the first time, that he's a liar. That you can't believe nothing that comes out of his mouth. He's a liar.
Fat Joe said his name, Joey Crack, comes from back in the day. The homegirls, when he got up, his ass crack would be showing. So they used to always call him Crack. First of all, Fat Joe is lying. That's number one. Fat Joe is lying. That is a lie.
When talking about the greatest rappers from hip-hop's golden age, it's impossible to leave out Fat Joe. The Bronx native with Puerto Rican and Cuban roots has made a huge impact on the culture, from releasing 13 studio albums to delivering hit after hit. Fat Joe has been a major force in hip-hop and also helped bring talents like the legendary Big Pun to the spotlight, who is a symbol of pride for Puerto Rican MCs. However, in recent years, Joe's iconic status has faced some criticism due to questionable behavior, shaky morals, and exaggerating stories, with one of the biggest issues being his public support for Diddy, who has been surrounded by controversy.
You know, I know Diddy 30 years. I'm just praying. It's a very sad situation. I don't know enough about it. That's as far as I could go. I stood up last night, maybe 4 hours praying for him and his kid.
With me, Puff Daddy used to chase me in my Beamers and Benzes, and I got ice on, and I'm looking like this. And he's like, yo, Crack, what's up? And this. Next thing I know, he's a billionaire. You get what I'm saying? So he was smart. He knew the branding business. Puff Daddy took everything.
Many fans and people in the culture feel that supporting Diddy right now raises serious questions about Fat Joe's judgment and loyalty to the community. On top of that, Joe has also gained a reputation for exaggerating stories so much that fans are now calling him out for telling outright lies.
He's pretty entertaining, right?
He entertaining.
Yeah.
He entertaining, especially when he lied. That's when he best entertaining.
Long ago, Fat Joe came out and said he lied in 95% of his rhymes. What did you think of that?
He told the truth for the first time, that he's a liar. That you can't believe nothing that comes out of his mouth. He's a liar.
A good example is Fat Joe's changing stories about his connection with Biggie Smalls. In 2023, Joe appeared on Cam Capone's platform and made a surprising claim, saying he and Biggie had worked on an album together, recording 8 to 10 songs. Joe said the project was canceled and likely destroyed because it was very disrespectful, with lots of disses aimed at Tupac.
We made a bunch of songs, you know what I'm saying? But they was like really disrespectful and hateful, and so he died, and they might have burnt them shits, to be honest with you. Because, you know, it was distasteful, you know what I'm saying, after the fact.
And how many songs did you guys do?
I don't know, but a couple. Not maybe 8 songs, 10 songs, you know, like that.
At first, Fat Joe's story about working with Biggie might sound believable since they did have a known relationship. But fans weren't convinced because his own words don't match up. On VladTV in September 2018, Joe said they had been working on an album, but only recorded 4 songs, even mentioning Puffy and the Hitman as producers. Then, in March 2021, during a live chat with Swizz Beatz and Timbaland, the number suddenly changed to 5 songs.
You know, I say stuff, Tim, and they always say I lie or I say too much. You know, I worked on an album with Biggie. We cut about 5 songs together.
All right, 4 to 5 songs could be a simple mistake, but jumping to 8 to 10, fans were quick to joke, saying maybe Biggie came back from the grave to record more tracks. The inconsistencies in Joe's story left people confused. Then there's the Tupac situation, which makes Joe's story even more complicated. Back in 1995, Joe was on the radio talking about the East Coast version's West Coast beef. And he said some things that reportedly caused tensions with Puerto Rican inmates who supported him. Joe claimed he fixed the situation by speaking to Tupac on the phone, clearing the air, and saying there was no bad blood. He even said he sent a message through Charlie Rock LD to look out for Pac in prison.
And they asked me the question, yo, Joe, what you think about Tupac and all that? I said, yo, he's cool, but, you know, if they step to me, it's gonna be some shit.
Yeah.
Tupac's locked up upstate in New York. The Puerto Ricans hear that, and they're, Poppy, Tupac got beef with Fat Joe, yo. Tupac was like, yo, these Puerto Ricans is on me. Like, you said something in the radio. I don't got a problem with you, Joe. Like this, I know what's up, this. And so, you know, we sent the kite out to the Puerto Ricans and be like, nah.
At first, Joe's story of playing peacemaker with Tupac might sound positive, but things don't add up. If Joe and Tupac had no issues after their call, why would Joe later diss Pac on records? Fans were left confused by the contradictions in the timeline. If Pac told Joe there were no problems, why send a message to Charlie Rock? And if things were cool, why get involved in diss tracks aimed at Pac? In December 2021, Lil Cease spoke on VladTV about Biggie's stance on Tupac and diss tracks, saying Biggie strongly opposed fueling the beef. Biggie made it clear to Junior M.A.F.I.A that recording diss tracks was off limits and warned them he'd cut ties if they did. Cease said no one went against Biggie's wishes, showing how much influence Big had. Then in January 2022, Cease appeared on The Art of Dialogue and addressed rumors about Biggie and Fat Joe working on an album together. Cease, who was with Biggie almost daily, denied the rumors, saying he never heard of them recording songs together. He added that while they might have discussed collaborating, no actual tracks were recorded.
Seen an interview from Fat Joe, and he said that him and Biggie was working on an album together, and he said that they had a whole lot of Tupac disses on the album.
I don't think so. I'm sure I was around for a lot of stuff, and I didn't hear none of that at all.
Cease also said Biggie wasn't the type to make full-on diss tracks aimed at Tupac. He might throw in a subliminal jab, but full diss tracks weren't his style, making Cease doubt that such an album or even a collection of songs ever existed. There's also a rumor about a clip that allegedly surfaced on World Star Hip Hop years ago, where Diddy supposedly denied knowing anything about an album between Biggie and Fat Joe. Since the clip can't be found, it remains part of hip-hop lore. Fans are skeptical because Diddy, known for being business savvy, likely wouldn't let Biggie's unreleased material go to waste, especially when posthumous releases were so profitable. On the other hand, if the songs were full of Tupac disses, Diddy might have shelved them to avoid drama. Cuban Link, who's spoken about Biggie and Fat Joe, also doubted the album existed. He acknowledged Joe had a relationship with Biggie, but felt the album idea was exaggerated. Cuban shared a story about a track Joe claims was part of the supposed album. According to Cuban, he, Big Pun, and Joe once visited Diddy's studio and met Biggie. After introductions, Biggie explained he wanted a Spanish-flavored intro for a unique vibe. Cuban, the only fluent Spanish speaker, hesitated as a rookie, but Pun encouraged him to try. Cuban and Pun recorded the intro, which Biggie loved, hyping them up. Then Fat Joe jumped on the mic to add his touch to the track.
Puffy told Big, hey, yo, tell them what you want from them so they could do it in the studio. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they could do it. You know, because you say you wanted some Spanish shit. You know what I'm saying? And, Pun and Joe, was there. And Pun looked at me. Now, I was the rookie at the time, real rookie. Like, oh, shit, do this? So they both put me to do it. Okay? So me and Pun went. So then after me and Pun went and did our stuff, Biggie was like, yeah, he was hyped up. Then Joe went in there and he put his spice on top on a separate track by himself.
Here's where things get messy. Cuban Link says Fat Joe is now taking credit for the Spanish intros that Cuban and Pun created. He claims Joe is using a snippet of this track to push the idea that he and Biggie recorded an entire album together.
He used that little snippet right there to sell the fact that he did an album with Biggie. Incredible liar. Disgusting.
Cuban Link sees this as a clear exaggeration and has been outspoken about calling Joe out for it. For Cuban, the truth is simple. There was no album, just one track with a collaborative vibe in the studio. But Fat Joe's controversial stories about Biggie and Tupac aren't the only things causing drama. In 2022, he gave another bold claim in an interview, saying he was the one who got Trick Daddy and Pitbull their record deals.
I put him on. I took his made sure that they played it. They wasn't never gonna play it. 6 months later, he was rich. Pitbull. I took his demo and got him signed. Cool. Trick Daddy, I took his and got him signed.
Uncle Luke didn't take kindly to Joe's claim and quickly called him out on Instagram. Luke, a Miami hip-hop pioneer, set the record straight with a detailed response saying he discovered Trick Daddy and had him do his first song with him after being locked up. He also signed Pitbull to his platinum-selled Luke Records label and had him do his first songs with him. Luke pointed out that he found Pitbull through battle rap tapes and signed him because he wanted to give a Cuban rapper a chance. Luke backed up his claims, saying he has the receipts and mentioning how he also discovered DJ CD on underground radio. NFL legend Deion Sanders added his support by commenting that Luke was a hero and a key figure in the music people listen to today. After the backlash, Fat Joe went live with Uncle Luke to explain himself, but his attempt to backtrack left fans cringing. Joe tried to clarify that he didn't claim to discover Trick Daddy and Pitbull, but that he was the catalyst for getting them signed. However, the video showed Uncle Luke looking confused and skeptical, and fans quickly pointed out how unconvincing Joe's explanation was.
Now, I know you discovered Trick. I know you discovered Pitbull. I never said I discovered them. Luke, I took his demo out of love for hip-hop.
Even Trick Daddy joined the conversation, saying the idea of an East Coast rapper like Fat Joe helping a Miami artist get a deal didn't make sense, especially back in the day when there was tension between East Coast and Southern rappers. Trick stated clearly that no Southern artist was working with or had connections to East Coast rappers because they weren't on good terms. He didn't believe that someone from the East Coast would help a Miami artist get a deal with no strings attached or any personal gain.
Like I said, I love Fat Joe, love him like a brother. I believe that he loved me like a brother. As far as him hearing about me or hearing my music and taking it to somebody to hear it, probably did. So for me to think that somebody from the East Coast was going to get a brother from the South, let alone Miami, and take his music and go get him a deal with no points, no strings attached, and no nothing, that I don't see that happening.
Fans found Trick's perspective to be logical, especially given the cultural divide at the time. Many pointed out that East Coast rappers often looked down on Southern artists back then, so the idea of Fat Joe supporting Trick's music seemed unlikely. Trick even suggested that maybe Joe was just forgetting things. This sparked criticism, with fans accusing Fat Joe of trying to downplay the contributions of Black artists to hip-hop. Many saw his claims as an attempt to rewrite history and insert himself into stories where he didn't belong. As if that wasn't enough, Fat Joe has also faced accusations of being a snitch. Although he denied it, his attempts to clear his name only made things worse. In a video addressing the rumors, Joe repeatedly said he wasn't a snitch, but instead of giving a clear explanation, he rambled on with unrelated points and vague statements.
But instead of offering a clear and convincing explanation, he rambled on with unrelated tangents and vague statements.
Joe Crack the Dawn has never been a rat in his life, has never told on a person in his life. I self before I tell on somebody. Today's about love or hate. Now, meaning, we call people haters.
Fans found it suspicious that Fat Joe didn't directly address the allegations, arguing that his failure to do so only made things worse. But Fat Joe is not only known for his tall tales, he's also infamous for his long list of beefs. One of the most well-known was his feud with 50 Cent, a rivalry that went on for years and caused a lot of drama. It started back in 2004 during a heated time in New York hip-hop. At that time, 50 Cent was riding high on his success with the album Get Rich or Die Tryin' and calling himself the King of New York. His rise and bold attitude rubbed many rappers the wrong way, including Fat Joe. But the beef officially kicked off in October 2004 when Ja Rule released the track New York, where he aimed at 50 Cent, and Fat Joe and Ja Rule were featured. To 50, this was a clear sign that Fat Joe was picking sides. In response, 50 dropped a diss track targeting everyone he had issues with, including Fat Joe. Joe didn't back down, saying in interviews that he would punch 50 in the face. Things heated up even more when 50 called into DJ K-Slay's show on Hot 97 in February 2005 to diss Joe live on air. Joe quickly called in to fire back, calling 50 a fake gangster and blaming his behavior on steroids.
On a one-on-one tip, like whatever. On that note, like you don't really want to do that. You know what I'm saying? You want to just Tell me where to meet you. I'll walk down there one deep and I will knock you out. It's simple. It's so simple because at the end of the day, he ain't built like that. So when he look at Joe Crack eyes, he ain't gonna want it like that.
By June of that year, Fat Joe released his album All or Nothing, which included the track My Fofo, a clear diss aimed at 50 Cent. The tension reached its peak at the 2005 MTV VMAs, where both rappers were present. During his speech, Fat Joe took a shot at 50, saying, "I'd like to thank G-Unit for all the police protection tonight," implying that 50 Cent was working with law enforcement.
I like to tell the people home, I feel so safe tonight with all this police protection courtesy of G-Unit.
Never one to let an insult go unanswered, 50 Cent clapped back during his performance, cursing out Fat Joe live on TV alongside Tony Yayo. Fat Joe later claimed that this incident cost him a sneaker deal with Jordan, a loss he said was around $20 million. Later that year, 50 Cent released Window Shopper as part of the Get Rich or Die Tryin' movie soundtrack, and he didn't stop there. He released an alternate version of the song aimed at Nas, Ja Rule, Jis, and of course, in 2008, the feud flared up again when G-Unit dropped the mixtape Return of the Body Snatchers, which included the track I'm Leaving, targeting Fat Joe once more. Joe responded by calling 50 obsessed with him, and in the same year, Fat Joe released his album The Elephant in the Room. 50, always ready to troll, released The Elephant in the Sand mixtape on the exact same day, mocking Joe with the cover art and title. To make matters worse, 50 publicly revealed Fat Joe's first-week album sales, only 46,000 copies, and compared them to his mixtape downloads, which hit over 400,000 in the first week. Taking advantage of the moment, 50 released a video titled Fat Joe's Funeral, where he mocked Joe's poor sales and claimed his career was dead.
Hey, what's up, yo? This is 50 Cent. Fat Joe's project actually scanned 46,000 copies, which is actually terrible.
In 2009, Fat Joe released Jealous One Still Envy 2, and 50 Cent didn't miss the chance to troll him again. This time, 50 made a comedy video warning fans not to listen to the album, joking that it was so bad it sent him to the hospital.
Hey, I listened to Fat Joe's record, and I told you people not to listen to his music. It's terrible. I mean, it is because his music sucks so.
In 2012, the beef between Fat Joe and 50 Cent finally ended, but under sad circumstances. Music executive Chris Lighty, who had played a big role in both their careers, tragically passed away during their feud. Lighty had often asked them to end their issues, but it wasn't until his funeral that they started to make up. Both 50 and Joe attended, and although they didn't speak at the service, they later shared a stage at the 2012 BET Awards during a tribute performance for Lighty. During rehearsals, they finally made amends. From that point, Fat Joe and 50 Cent officially squashed their beef. Since then, they've been seen together at different times, whether performing or just hanging out. But Fat Joe's controversies go beyond feuds and claims. Over the years, he has also had many legal issues. One of the earliest incidents happened on September 8, 1998, when Fat Joe and Big Pun were arrested for assault after allegedly hitting a man with a baseball bat and stealing his gold chain. In May 2002, Fat Joe was arrested again after a fight at B.B. King's Blues Club in Times Square, but the charges were dropped. In 2003, his name came up in two cases, one involving his former bodyguard, who was arrested for the 1,994 shooting death of a 16-year-old. Joe claimed he heard the gunshot and saw people running, but investigators thought he knew more than he let on. In 2007, Fat Joe was linked to a shooting in Miami, where he was sitting with two men when an argument turned deadly. He wasn't charged, but was listed as a witness, raising more questions. In December 2012, Joe pleaded guilty to not paying taxes on over $3 million earned between 2007 and 2010, and was sentenced to 4 months in prison in 2013. After nearly 3 months, he was released in November 2013. While Fat Joe is still respected in hip-hop, his legal troubles and controversies have hurt his reputation, and many fans now question how much respect he truly deserves.
Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and stay informed. Stay tuned for more updates, and let's keep our news accurate.